You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com. Did you sniff your mug?
No, I was disappointed because the coffee's cold.
I
should have got
understand
some, but I should have got some between shows before we recorded. I didn't do it. I wonder if it would be out of line if I asked you to fill this. Thank you, man. You're good, Dr. Shah. You want some coffee?
No, I'm good.
Is it
I'm
hot?
Good. Mine is hot.
Yours is hot?
David helped me out.
Very cool.
A second ago, I was like, I think I need some coffee. He's like,
Very, very cool. I meant
there.
to get some before we started recording. But in the meantime, what is my line? You can help us keep the conversation going forward by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. Link is in the description below, and we are here once again in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who's a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, along with perma-guest Nicole Shah, back for 2 episodes in a row. Say it ain't so. I will not go.
Perma-guest back-to-back.
Back-to-back. Space
Wow.
Ghost, coast to coast. It's good to see you, Nicole.
All the video
Good to
people are
see
going to
y'all
have to
too.
forgive me.
No, it's all good. Thank you, man. Thank you. Nicole, it's good to see you.
It's good to see y'all too.
How's it feel being back 2 days in a row?
I feel special.
Did y'all go on a nice 30-year anniversary dinner?
Well, I mean, we did go to the Liberty Ball,
Yeah, we did.
one of the 3 official balls.
That's right. That was
on
y'all
Inauguration
were
Day.
traveling during the
That's
30-year
right.
anniversary.
That's right. So we hadn't planned on that. We were not quite sure this was going to come through, but somebody higher up said, "Hey, you are going to be there. I want to make sure you're there." I was like, "Okay." And but when somebody's helping you and doing you a favor,
Yeah.
you don't want to be like, "Hey, where's my ticket?"
Right.
Where's my ticket?
Gimme.
So I told Nicole, I was like, I want us to go do our anniversary overnight getaway,
Yeah.
but I think we're going to be at the Liberty Ball with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance and their families. I said, I think this is going to work out.
Yeah.
And remember that? We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when it worked out, man, 30-year anniversary, and
At-
we were
At the Liberty Ball.
at the Liberty Ball.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. Our verse of the day today is coming to us from Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus.
Dr. Shah, you did a series a number of years ago called Mind Reset.
Yeah,
think
from
One of my
Philippians.
favorite. I
On
love
Philippians.
that series.
Great series.
Yeah, Philippians chapter 2.
I'm confident that one day we're going to make that a book. I think we started drafting it a while back, and then for whatever reason, we kind of put it aside. But I think Mind Reset is one of the ones that we always come back to. Kind of like Heaven Here and Now. I knew in 2017 when you preached it was going to be something. Ended up becoming an album. But I believe Mind Reset is going to be a book because I think it was one of the greatest sermons that you've ever done, where it's like, it's legitimately, it is your mind. It's the mind of Christ. And people, I think, really devalue the power of their own mind. Or they underestimate how critical their mind actually is.
Yeah. This is part of your sanctification process. Sometimes people confuse justification with sanctification. They think that when I'm saved, all of a sudden there's a mind transformation that happens. And yes and no. In a sense, yes, it does happen. But in a sense, it takes years to undo the damage of living in this fallen world, the damage that we incur from our family, from our background, from the happenings of life. All of that creates a commotion.
Yeah, that's true. Nicole, you're a woman, and
Yes, I am.
last time you checked, you can speak to this too, because that's one of the things that I hear from a lot of women is that your mind just never turns off. You can be held captive by your own mind, and your own thoughts.
Well, it feels
It's like a
like
tempest up there.
Wait a minute.
it feels like
Commotion, tempest, what could it be?
I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to disqualify. I'm going for it. Tempest? No. He always gets me with the fake outs.
Gotcha.
What were you saying, Nicole?
now I can't even remember what I was supposed to
Do you have a
say.
tempest or do you have a commotion upstairs?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard this one time and I thought, that is really true. You ever watch somebody's computer screen and they've got like 15 tabs open across?
Yeah,
the
golly, I can't stand that.
That is a woman's brain a lot of times because we can just go between.
There's 17 tabs open. 3 of them are frozen, and I don't know where the music's coming from.
I don't even. That's pretty good. Did you?
It's like a frenzy up there.
It really is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm already out.
Frenzy.
I think I'm already out. It's up to you.
I don't think
man.
it's frenzy.
You gotta carry on the good
I don't think
fight.
it's frenzy.
I don't even like doing that on a computer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? David will do that. Like I've seen David's tabs,
Yeah.
and I don't know if his mind is like that, but David's tabs are like that. Like he'll have like 20, 24 tabs open. I can't stand if I get more, like 2 or
Yeah.
more. I'm like I gotta just finish this and then
Well,
move on
that's
to the next
because
tab.
men's minds are you compartmentalize everything.
Right.
And women, I don't know how to compartmentalize.
They multitask much more than men can ever. Men may claim to multitask. We don't. Now, if you mean multitask like you're listening to a radio show as you're shaving, that's really not a multitasking.
No, it's not. Right.
It's okay, you're doing 2 things at once, but really you're not as actively involved in the radio show or the podcast. You're really shaving.
I've seen Ellie on the phone with her boss, cleaning the cabinets, holding a baby, and make a pot of coffee at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember standing and watching her do that, like,
How?
in the world did you do that? I would have to do 4 things. She's doing 4 things, like separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember cooking dinner, feeding a child, and helping another one with homework.
Yeah.
All doing all 3 things.
Did you get overwhelmed, or was it pretty easy?
Sometimes I would get overwhelmed if it was
Hold on,
math.
partner.
If it was math,
I'm overstimulated.
if it was math,
There was a
then
lot of
I would-
hullabaloo in the house.
You got to get him, Ryan.
Hullabaloo.
He can't keep getting away with it.
No.
All right. Have you used it yet?
No.
No.
Okay. I don't think we're allowed to.
No.
I don't think we're allowed to call him on it anymore. Some brouhaha. I remember brouhaha. Don't get yourself out, Nicole. Is it brouhaha?
Yeah.
Oh. Nicole got it.
I mean, she saw my word.
Brouhaha.
Did you peek?
I did peek.
He
actually.
peeked.
Yeah.
She peeked a little bit.
All right.
It doesn't count.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be pressing the button
All
if you
right,
peek.
claim your victory,
David, you have
Dr.
anything
Shah.
to say on that? Is she allowed to play if she peeked?
No, that's cheating. I know you think you're good at multitasking, but that's just cheating.
Yeah, the no peeking rule was implied.
Dr. Shah, would you like to claim your victory, my friend, with the
will
grunt
claim it.
birthday party? There it is! Hooray! Headshot. All right, Nicole, I got a game for you. Well, this is for all of us, but I wanted to include you.
Okay.
Well, this is the Bible Guess It game. This is made by
Right.
the Action Bible. I'm going to give you 15 hints.
Oh, I've heard y'all do this. on
Great
the
game!
show.
Shout out to our good friend DW over on Arthur for turning us on to this
Move
game.
it, football head.
Move it, football. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. All right, so
man.
you've got 15 guesses to guess this person.
Okay.
My name, and this is for everybody. It's not just for Nicole. My name means gift of the Lord.
Um,
I'm the son of Alphaeus. I hosted a great banquet.
Oh my goodness.
I collected something that everybody wants.
Matthew?
Yes, it was Matthew. Good man.
Matthew was the son of Alphaeus.
That's awesome. All right, this is a place. Bera and Bersha were kings here. The mountains were too far to run to. We were an example.
This is a what?
A place.
A place?
The people here hated foreigners.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh.
I was going to say that Dr. Shah's been there, but I don't think you've been there yet.
I
you?
have seen it from a distance.
From a distance, but I haven't gone. into
No,
the
I haven't
place.
gone there. Now, they do say that on the west side of the Dead Sea, that's where the Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities of the plain were. But more you study archaeology and really spend time looking at some of those places, you go, I don't
Probably
think
wasn't there.
So now there are places there that look like cities, okay, have been crystallized. I mean, it looks like, wow, this has to be. But lately, scholars have pointed on the east side of the Dead Sea, on the Jordanian side, as the place of ancient Sodom and Gomorrah.
Wow.
One day I'm planning on going there.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I'd love to
yeah.
film there.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more.
Okay.
This is a person. My brother was 3 years older than me. My sons were Gershom and Eliezer.
Oh, this is Aaron.
Close. Very close. I lived to be 120.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
No.
it's Eli. No.
Not Eli. No one knows where my grave is.
Oh,
Moses.
Moses, yeah. That's what I was saying.
I don't
You
know
were
why.
very close.
Yeah.
You want one more or you want to move on? We can do one
I
more.
do want to
do one more.
Okay, this one's good. This one's
Okay,
good.
okay.
It's a place.
Yeah.
This one's rough. I have mountains.
Okay.
My people,
that's
my people are like sand.
Israel?
Yeah, it's Israel.
Oh, wow,
was
that's
gonna
an easy
say.
one.
Yeah, that was
Man.
the easy one.
When you said sand, I was like, Israel?
This is the thing. You don't want to do this with like actual scholars and PhDs in the Bible because they get in like one or two guesses. There's like 15 hints for each one. So that's really fun. That's a fun game.
Well, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more Clearview Today.
Hey, Clearview Today family, thank you so much for tuning into the show. We're having a great time so far. Listen, if this show has been a source of encouragement and insight for you, we want to take a second and just ask you to consider supporting us financially. I know that might ruffle feathers a little bit, but think about it. You're listening to this show seemingly because you care about spreading the life-changing message of Jesus Christ to the world. Well, your giving allows us to continue sharing that message with other listeners just like you.
Your support is more than just encouragement to us. When you give, you're becoming our partner. You're joining with us to spread God's truth and love to a hurting world. And your gift is a reflection of your faith. And believe it or not, it's going to make an eternal impact in someone's life.
That's right, and giving to the show is insanely easy. All you do is visit our website, clearviewtodayshow.com, and you can click on that little button that says Give Today. We're so encouraged by everyone who's already giving to the show, and if today's your first time listening, we want to let you know that we appreciate your partnership, and we pray that God blesses you abundantly for your commitment to His work. All right, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
Dr. Shah, as a pastor, I can imagine that one of the things that brings you a lot of joy, especially like you two together, you and Nicole together, I can imagine one of the things that brings you a lot of joy is seeing the people of God come together and connect. You know, that's what you really want. And after 25, 26, 27 years of being at this church and seeing it grow, and I mean, it has grown. When I say exponentially, I don't just say that. Like, I mean, it has really, really, really grown. A lot of the times, you know, connection is a really, really great thing. But sometimes when people connect, right, it brings problems. It can bring a toxic connectivity, if you will. Maybe that's a good title. Toxic connectivity. Yeah, I just learned that for the first time. I'm joking. We've talked about this, of course. You know, some of the problems that we don't foresee, maybe it's through naivety, or maybe it's through just wanting
stupidity.
What is audacity, naivete, and stupidity? Whether it's through any of those, you always want to think that when people get together and connect in the church, it's going to be a good thing, and we're shocked when it isn't, or when it turns out not to be, because it's not always guaranteed. But when it does, we're shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocked and appalled.
Sad. It's sad. And unfortunately, you don't get lessons on this in seminary. You don't have too many books on this. Most times we're told just to get along and find a good model and think about those positive things and how can we make things better. Unfortunately, there are times you have to go, this cannot be fixed.
Right.
There's a problem here. There's a scoffer, there's a scorner in this mix. And as long as the scoffer and the scorner is going to be in this mix, there cannot be real unity.
Right. That's right.
And so that's what we're talking about today. And I hope pastors, church leaders, Sunday school leaders, discipleship leaders, small group leaders, I think all of you need to listen to this. And even in your secular workplaces, I think today's conversation will be beneficial.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because it happens not just in church settings, it also happens in other places, in family settings, in businesses, communities, where something starts out as this is going to be a great way for us to come together. Before you know it, it's got toxic connectivity.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the organization is to grow. And so there was, I think I can see how people would get like this level of shame, like, or embarrassment that, oh man, I've let toxic people into my flock or into my organization. But realistically, like, once you grow, how do you avoid toxic people getting in? I mean, they're going to find their way in.
The problem is that we want these people to connect, but people are made in the image of God, which means that we crave community. We crave connection because God himself exists in community as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So we desire community. However, we also have a sin nature. So we bring that into our connections as well. That's where you get things like toxic connectivity.
Yeah. True. You know, when people get together, you want it, like you said, your goal is that they would they would come together and do good and behave and not sow division. Has that ever been a problem? Like has this been a problem from the beginning, or do you think this is something that only happens when you grow?
No, for us, there was always not constantly were there issues, but pretty much there was always at least one person. And whether they were on purpose trying to cause trouble or it was just they had that toxic personality, I don't know. But there was always something was always brewing, whether it was just with one person and that person would either straighten up or leave. Usually it was leaving, and then it would get better, but it's bound to happen again.
But one thing, when they do leave, they never just leave, do they? They always got to talk to other families and try to bring as many people.
That's right.
Yeah.
That happens, and that's very sad. I grew up in church. Dad was a pastor, so we saw that. We saw that happening. And Nicole grew up in church settings as well. Her dad was a pastor for many years until he passed away with cancer. But she saw that as well. But people sometimes feel like, I don't have a voice anywhere else. But here at church, people are going to listen to me. When I have an opinion, I may be a nobody out there, but here I'm a somebody. You're going to listen to me, and that's a very, very bad behavior. Biblically speaking, it's an old problem. Read the Old Testament, and you see God's people, the people of Israel, coming against Moses and Aaron.
Right.
Toxic connectivity. Talk about toxic connectivity.
Yeah.
You cannot go back to slavery. You have to move forward. But right now, we're going to give you trouble. We're going to come together in this unholy pact,
Right.
and tell you that you are the source of our problem, and kind of rile up everybody to stone Moses and Aaron.
And how many people were there? Like 8 million people in the that he was leading.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't just a small crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going to give you trouble.
That's incredible. Do you find that pastors or ministry people who are naive, they miss the warning signs early? Like, what I mean by that is there's typically it will come in, a person will come into the church and they'll be really nice and friendly, and they'll tell you, at my old church, man, I had so many problems with the pastor. That pastor was so unbiblical, and I just felt so betrayed. I felt so blah 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 blah, and the novice will walk away thinking, well, it's going to be different here. This place is good, and it's going to serve you and your family.
Right.
I'm glad that you asked that. I was going to ask, what are some things we can watch for? What are some things that people can be on the lookout for?
Well, there are times people come because they've been hurt. There are times people come because the pastors were out of line,
Right.
and they did something wrong, or they taught unbiblical messages. So I do understand there is a place, but if everywhere you go you have the same complaint,
Same story.
Yeah.
then there's a common element,
Yeah.
and the element is you.
I really truly believe that God, if you're praying for God to just help you see these things, I think you will see those red flags, because there have been instances where new people have come into the church, and we've had conversations with the wife or the husband, or both together, and one of those red flags will pop up, and I'm like, oh, this may not be good.
Yeah.
And it's God. It's God giving us that sense of just be very careful. It's not that we don't want them here, or we just want you to leave, but it's more like we're just going to tread very carefully.
Yeah.
I also think about like how sin looks so nice and so appealing. I think when you tell people, hey, watch out, there are toxic people in your church, we picture that bum from Dennis the Menace. You remember the guy at the guy under the bridge he carved up the apple and stuff? I think that's who we picture. So we're like, I'm going to be on the lookout. But I don't see that guy anywhere in my congregation.
Yeah. Everybody looks nice, polished, and put together.
You don't ever think that the sweet old woman who sits behind you in the pew and always tells you how great and smart you are and how good of a Sunday school teacher you are and all that stuff. You don't think that that's the toxic. Yeah, look at him. That's who you think the toxic. Golly.
Looks like he might have eaten something that was toxic.
Yeah, you always think that's going to be the toxic guy in your church. You don't think it's going to be the sweet old lady who's been there for years and years and years.
Yeah, and she just has a contentious spirit. So it's an old problem. It's goes back to Old Testament times. It was there throughout the history of God's people. It showed up in Jesus's 12 disciples because one of them was trying to talk to the others and say, that money could have been used. Remember the woman came and used the alabaster flask, poured the perfume on Jesus's feet, and then wiped it with her hair as she's weeping. All that. I mean, it was quite a powerful demonstration of her gratefulness and her brokenness before God. And this man was, Judas, was more concerned about the money. What are we doing with that money? That money could have been used. The money, you wanted the money to go in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So even in Jesus' own group, there was toxic connectivity.
Great point.
Yeah.
I think that helps. I think that that helps me because a lot of times we don't want to admit that we've got toxic people among us.
Yeah.
Because if I've got toxic people in my midst, I'm a bad leader. But Jesus was not a bad leader. He had toxic people.
Jesus himself had toxic people in his group.
Great
What are some
point.
things that people are listening and maybe they've recognized, like, I see some behaviors that might be troublesome. I see some behaviors that could be this toxic connectivity that I've been hearing about. What are some things that you would say to them how to move forward? How can they handle it? How can they address it? What should leaders and ministry leaders do?
Well, the Bible is our guide. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of verses. I've been kind of pulling them up so I can share them with you.
Right.
The first one is Proverbs 22 and verse 10. It says, "Cast out the scoffer, and contention will cease. Yes, strife and reproach will cease."
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Why is that always a pastor's last ditch effort?
Yeah. After it's a mess, after people are accusing the pastor of being the problem,
Right.
That's when we go, oh, we got to do this. And then at that point, it's like, it's a mess. Because sometimes I think is because we feel like we can save everybody. And that's not always possible.
Well, also, too, if you're coming, if you're a pastor or a pastor's wife in a small church and you lose a family and there was already only 40 or 50 people in your church.
That's a big hit.
That's a big hit.
Yeah.
So even though you know that they were toxic, you feel like a failure.
Yeah. Or do you feel like people might turn against you if it's like they kicked out a family out of the church? They cast them out on the street? Now,
that
why
too.
would they do that?
Hey, listen, this is a dictatorship because Paul, you have to say something against him or them and they will just kick you out. No, it's biblical because you have zero investment in that ministry
That's
or
right.
that business. So it's easy for you to kick it.
Yeah.
Because you're not losing anything.
Right.
You're watching it go up in flames and you are surrounded by your buddies as you're saying, see? So my encouragement to pastors, as long as you're walking by the truth of the Word of God and your lifestyle demonstrates that, fight for it. I learned that from my parents, and I'm sure Nicole learned that as well from her family, her dad, to fight for the ministry and don't just roll over and play dead and say, okay, take it, guys. It's you know what? It is what it is. I don't care.
Yeah.
No. No, you should always fight for it. And I really appreciate the fact that the staff here came together and crafted out the I can't remember what you call it, but it's the
vision statement?
Not the vision, but it's talking about how to protect the unity.
Oh, the membership
The
covenant.
membership covenant.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. To protect the unity. And it lists out specific things that I will do or I will not do.
Yeah.
And so I believe that's being proactive.
Yep.
And I truly believe that if you're a pastor of a smaller church, be proactive.
Absolutely.
And do something like this and lay it out and say, this is what we want you to do and this is what we will not tolerate.
Now, and make sure you're walking in the truth.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't have immorality of any
Right.
kind in your life,
That's
right? But don't let Satan falsely accuse you either and make you feel like, well, I can't say anything because, man, I was speeding yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Don't speed and ask God to forgive you.
Right.
But here what they're doing is they're causing contention so the gospel
Right.
will stop.
Right.
So that they can divide the church. so that they can let the enemy come in. Don't equate that and say, well, since I was speeding yesterday, I can't say anything about this today. No,
Yeah, you're not going to be sinless.
no.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will also say this too. I discovered this a few years back, and it was just one of those truths that just kind of hit me. Also, if you're a pastor's wife, look at your staff, no matter how small or how big the staff is. How is your relationship
Good point.
with the staff members and their families?
Yeah.
I have found that whatever is happening in the staff, do you have good relationships? Do you have good working relationships, good relationships outside of church? If there's unity in the staff, that's going to trickle down into the church.
That's right.
If there's strife,
Yeah.
if there's fighting, if there's disagreement, whatever in the staff, guess
Yeah.
what?
And distance
It's
yourself from people like that. David, you had a question.
Yeah, really quickly, I just wanted to ask, I know in our world today, like, there are a lot of people who say things are toxic when they're not really toxic. So, not to discredit what we're talking about, but are there things that are ever just annoying but not toxic?
Yeah.
Or how do you discern?
And maybe we can take another show to talk
Yeah, we
about
may
this.
need
Okay,
to,
we
yeah.
may need to really get deeper into this. But people, I consider toxicity to be something that causes division and ultimately destruction. Okay? So Paul says in Romans 16:17, "Now I urge you, brethren, note those who cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you learned." Note those who cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you learned, means what we know as the truth of the gospel of the word of God.
Right.
And those who are causing divisions and offenses contrary to that truth. And we've seen that. If you look at it, people are not just causing trouble, they are going against some doctrine.
Right.
If you look at it, carefully, prayerfully, you will find that there is a doctrine that is at stake. And that doctrine could be as simple as obedience to Christ. The doctrine could be as simple as worship being focused upon God rather than self. A lot of times that happens. Self-glorification is happening. They want to worship themselves. But all in the guise of, man, I just want to glorify God, and I feel like the way you're leading the music, or I feel like the way this song is being done is not right, and you hear them, but really what they're saying is, I want to be up on the stage, I want the spotlight on me, I want to look good, and I want people to compliment me when it's done.
Right.
Okay?
Pretty much you're saying that selfishness is the root of all the problems.
Not just selfishness, it's about taking the worship, the focus away from God and putting it on self.
you. Yeah.
Because there's a doctrine there. There's a doctrine that is being compromised.
I think that's a great distinction, because the person who doesn't want to make the switch from like sheet music to chord charts, or I don't want to get rid of the music stands. That's not necessarily a toxic person. But the person who's like, we don't need to be doing these songs. We need to be doing these songs. I should be leading them. I want to start leading more. I want to be out front. I don't want to be in here.
Yeah,
Those are the
there's
people
more. Yeah, we're just talking about worship. It could be another context as well. Things like this can happen. What do you do? And again, we need another show on this.
Yeah, we can pick this up tomorrow.
So it says, contrary to the doctrine which you learn, and avoid them.
Don't rehabilitate them.
Right.
The problem I've found in church settings, it may also happen in business. I was a school principal, and I've seen that there as well. But especially in church settings, what people do is they become the Good Samaritan. They feel like, oh, you're lying on the ground, hurt, wounded. Looks like it. No, it's ketchup. But oh no, come over here. It's all blood. You've been battered and bruised. I will help you get up, and I will take you to the inn, and I will take care of you. They're taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
Okay. What you have to do at that point is avoid people like that.
Yes.
Avoid them, and that is not a popular thing to do. I've done that before. I'm going to avoid you. And people are like, you shouldn't do that. I mean, I know what you're doing. I know what you do. I know he doesn't speak to me. I'm avoiding you.
Yeah.
And I'm being biblical.
That's right.
And it's not just because I disagree with you or you disagree with me. It's because you're purposely trying to cause divisions in the body.
Right.
Yeah.
If we just do things God's way, A lot of our problems
much
would
better.
go away.
Boy, that's, just when in doubt, just do it God's way.
You could sum the whole episode up with
Let
just
that be your guiding principle. When in doubt, do it God's way. So great. I hope we get the chance to dive into this further
let's talk
on
about it
additional
tomorrow.
episodes. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow, same time, same station. We're going to be diving into another great topic here on the Clearview Today show. Thanks again to our sponsors for making today's episode possible. Thanks again to Nicole Shah, our perma guest, for being on today's episode.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Nicole.
Don't forget that you can support us by subscribing to the show on iTunes if you want to re-listen or share it with a friend. And you can always support us financially at clearviewtodayshow.com. John, what do you leave our listeners with today?
Definitely want to leave you with Dr. Shah and Nicole's book, 30 Days of Praying for America. These are daily devotions to heal our nation. It's book 3 in a series of our 30 Days devotionals. You can also get our original music on Amazon and iTunes and Spotify, anywhere digital music is streamed or sold. We got a brand new single coming out. It's called Great and Awesome. We're going to let you know the very moment that it's out. We'll probably play it here on the show for you, but you can get all of our music catalog on all those platforms.
That's right. Lots of great content coming your way. Make sure you guys tune in. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.